There are people for whom their number one issue is groceries, the cost of groceries, and they vote alongside that. And they kept hearing about it from Trump, and they heard about it from us. And I think part of our posture has been, we welcome anyone to join this movement. We don't ask them where they've been or why they haven't joined yet. We welcome them because I think too often we've practiced a politics of purity where we ask you, we badger you, we lecture you, we heckle you. There's the level of condescension about those who don't already agree with us. That is not how you welcome people in.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
I no longer believe we are all part of the same movement. There's the governance-focused, big tent, win elections and pass laws left. That's where I am. And then there's this purity test left. The ones who don't really care if we lose and sometimes seem to like it so they can say, I told you so, as long as they feel morally untainted. They treat compromise as corruption. They think we need a better media ecosystem must mean install CIA-approved thought leaders or something like that. So maybe we were never really part of the same movement. If I've been red-pilled about anything, maybe it's that. We overlapped when convenient, and that was it. But I'm not getting red-pilled. I'm done pretending that everyone with a left-wing label is on the same page. You can stand for progress in a lot of different ways. You can want change without torching everyone who's only 98% on your side. But no, I am not having a political awakening. I am not the next Dave Rubin. None of that is happening.
Boy. So we got to talk about some very, very, very fascinating and entertaining politics coming out of New York City, right? The New York City mayor race, which as of right now, Zohran Mamdani, the radical socialist, has an 81% chance of winning, okay? If the election was held today, this guy would most likely win, okay? And New York City would have its first socialist mayor, like openly socialist mayor, okay? We're talking about a major city in the United States of America having a mayor that's openly a mask-off socialist, okay? This is a big deal. This is a huge deal. And I've told you guys time and time again, if this guy wins this race, it's over for the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party will fall, right? They will have officially fallen. Because at that point, the door will be wide open for more radical lunatics to run in Democrat primaries. They will win, okay? And potentially they'll win some general elections, which will overall be bad for the country. So we don't want this to happen, okay? The Trump administration doesn't want this to happen. And apparently, it looks like establishment Democrats don't want this to happen either, right? And that's what we have to talk about here. Because the radical socialists are furious, right? They are furious over what is going to potentially happen in this New York City mayor race after a bombshell poll dropped showing that if Eric Adams and Curtis Sliwa drop out of the race, then Cuomo has a decent chance of beating Mamdani, right? That is what this new poll showed, and that is going to lead us into the next story that we're going to talk about, which is, again, a possibility of Eric Adams dropping out of the race because of this new polling.
What this new poll shows is that this race could very well come down to the size of the field. Are there 5 candidates in the race like there currently are, or is the field whittled down? State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani is set to participate today in the National Action Network's March on Wall Street to demand economic justice and fair opportunities for all. A new poll shows him still maintaining his lead over the other 4 candidates, but there is this new wrinkle. According to the survey of 1,000 likely voters by Tolchin Research, Mamdani gets 42%, former Governor Andrew Cuomo 26%, Republican Curtis Sliwa 17%, Mayor Eric Adams 9%, and Independent Jim Walden 3%. But here is the interesting part. If we eliminate 3 of the candidates, Sliwa, Adams, and Walden, if they drop out, which admittedly is a big if, Cuomo beats Mamdani 52% to 41%. Again, this head-to-head matchup you see on your screen there is far-fetched, at this point at least, considering that Sliwa and Adams have insisted that they aren't going anywhere. But it shows you how significant a development that could be if candidates do bow out. Cuomo attacked Mamdani.
Yeah. In this poll, okay, hypothetically, if Eric Adams and Curtis Sliwa and the other guy, Walden, if they drop out, Cuomo is beating Mamdani 52-41, right? So he has an 11-point lead over Mamdani, which is pretty comfortable, right? Which again would suggest that Mamdani is topping out at about 40%, okay? And again, that means that a majority of voters are against socialism, right? They're like, no, we would rather have anything else except a socialist, right? That is what the majority of voters believe, according to this poll, okay? And this is why now you have stories coming out about Eric Adams potentially dropping out due to the fact that you have the Trump administration allegedly offering him a job in order to drop out of the race, because ultimately Cuomo has the best shot at winning. I also believe there are rumors about Curtis Sliwa potentially being offered a job to drop out as well too. So now you have the Trump administration intervening because essentially this could be the best way to kneecap Mamdani and to save New York City. Take a look.
Watershed moment in the race for mayor this afternoon when the New York Times first reported that news.
And the other candidates reacting almost immediately, including frontrunner Zohran Mamdani, who held a fiery news conference after that news broke.
All right, Fox 5's Morgan Mackay in the Flatiron tonight, monitoring the fast-moving developments. Morgan.
Hey, Steve and Natasha. So the New York Times is reporting that the president's advisors are having conversations about offering Mayor Eric Adams and Curtis Sliwa a job in the Trump administration in order to clear the way for a matchup between Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani. And Mayor Adams adding fuel to these rumors by refusing to deny that they are false. Adams took a sudden trip to Florida yesterday, but avoided answering directly on if he met with the Trump administration officials while he was there. A few weeks ago, when Adams was asked if he plans to drop out, he said, quote, hell no. But this morning on Good Day New York, when he was asked again if he plans to drop out, possibly as soon as this week, he left it more open-ended.
Whenever I make a move, I make an announcement. I'm in this race to win, and if anything changes, trust me, I'll be on Channel 5 speaking to you.
Later this afternoon, shortly after the New York Times story broke, Adams was again asked to address these rumors, and again, he didn't deny these conversations were taking place.
I've been getting job offers for the last year and a half. Even in the midst of all this crisis, people like my leadership and how I turn around the city. And so to say, would you take a job in administration, or would I take it somewhere else? That's hypothetical. I'm running for office.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Okay, that is Eric Adams being a politician, right? Typical politician, right? Clearly, he's thinking about dropping out because he knows that he can't win. Okay, and at this point, if he continues to stay in a race, he's only just taking away votes from Cuomo, right? And he's allowing Mamdani to win. So you have Trump administration allegedly looking to interfere in this race in the sense that they're looking to basically give incentives for Curtis Sliwa and Eric Adams to drop out in order to give Cuomo the best chance of defeating the socialist. Now, the socialists are pissed off about this. They're pissed. They're upset. They're very, very, very mad about what is currently happening.
Andrew Cuomo reportedly told donors at a private fundraiser that given a three-way competition between himself, Sliwa, and Mamdani, Trump would intervene to help him out. Are you not proud, Cuomo? Like working with Daddy Trump in order to increase your chances of winning the mayoral race. I mean, this is like a disgraced former governor of New York, got a bunch of seniors killed in nursing homes, has a bunch of credible sexual harassment and assault allegations lodged against him. And this guy feels entitled to be the leader of New York City. What a freaking joke. But anyway, there's more. I heard Chris Cuomo gets really upset when people attack his brother, his big brother, his disgusting, entitled, pathetic, politician brother. Now, Cuomo said, again, this is back in August, I think we can minimize Sliwa's vote because he'll never be a serious candidate. And Trump himself, as well as top Republicans, will say the goal is to stop Mamdani, and you'll be wasting your vote on Sliwa. So I feel good about that. Of course you feel good about that. Now, during a different meeting with New York City business leaders, Cuomo reportedly stated, quote, I know personally Trump doesn't want to fight with me, Personally, I don't want to fight with him, right? So I don't think he's going to be eager to create a conflict with us because you guys are the same, really. Like when we talk about the uniparty, this is a mask off moment, proving that the uniparty exists. All the theater about how these guys hate Trump and MAGA's so terrible. When push comes to shove, it's all theater and they will work together to destroy a candidate who, actually wants to offer something different to constituents, who wants to, stay in the United States, stay in New York City and represent what's in the best interests of his constituents rather than travel to foreign countries or ingratiate himself with the Israeli government.
Yeah, the majority of people don't want socialism. That is the reality that socialists refuse to accept, right? They can't accept the reality that voters don't want what you're offering. Now, again, a growing number of voters in the Democrat Party, yes, they want socialism. The Democrat Party might actually be a party of socialists at this point, right? Especially if Mamdani wins. However, you're not the majority of the country. You're not, okay? But again, for whatever reason, this is a very hard concept for socialists to grasp, which is that you're not as popular, your policies are not as popular as you believe that they are, okay? This is why you have a hard time winning general elections. This is why when this is a one-on-one matchup, when you don't have votes being split, okay, based on ideological lines that are uneven, right? This is why socialists lose, okay? This is why they lose. It's the same reason Bernie lost to Joe Biden. The reason why Bernie lost to Joe Biden is because when Democrats made all of the individuals splitting the vote with Joe Biden ideologically drop out, guess what? Those people didn't say, now I want to vote for a socialist. No, they said, hey, we're going to vote for Joe Biden. And again, I'm not saying that it was right for the DNC to make those individuals drop out, but let's be real. At the end of the day, voters still vote. And when you have candidates who aren't splitting the vote, the socialists lose because the majority of people reject socialism, right, in this country. That's just the reality. So, again, I find it fascinating how, again, the socialists are so upset about this. But my question is, if you really got the juice like that, right, if your message is so persuasive, if it's so great, then you should be able to win one-on-one races, right? You should be able to win these races. So Mamdani is really upset by this. He's fuming. He's angry over reports that the Trump administration is trying to intervene, right? Trying to incentivize candidates who can't win, who have no chance of winning, of dropping out.
We have learned what New Yorkers have long suspected, that Andrew Cuomo is Donald Trump's choice to be the next mayor of this city. Today's news that the White House is considering job offers for Eric Adams and Curtis Sliwa, it is not news that carries meaning because of any impact it will have on this race. We feel just as confident as we did yesterday.
No, you don't, because you would be having a press conference about this if you felt like it wasn't a big deal, right? If you felt like it wasn't a big deal, then you wouldn't be talking about it. You're talking about it because you feel like it's a big deal, right? You feel like, hey, this is something that hurts my campaign. It hurts my chances of winning. Therefore, I got to talk about it. I got to address it, okay? And he's going to try to use this as a way to try to make it seem like, oh, well, it's us against the world, right? The world wants us to lose. Well, yeah, I think a majority of the country wants this guy to lose, right? I think that is definitely accurate, but that's not because you're the good guy, right? It's not because you're the good guy. That's not why we want you to lose, okay? I think that socialists, they get it very twisted. They think that, the establishment and everybody's against us. Even Democrats and Trump, they've come together to be against the socialists. We're the good guys. No, it doesn't mean you're the good guy. It just means that people with common sense and sanity understand that this is snake oil, right? That people like this guy will destroy this country. Again, look what happened to Chicago, okay, under woke Mayor Brandon Johnson. This dude has a sub 10% approval rating. And this dude makes Brandon Johnson look like a lightweight, right? A lightweight. So again, imagine what this dude would do to New York City. It would be a complete and total disaster. Nobody wants that, right? People don't want it.
We will win this race in November. This is, however, about an affront to our democracy. An affront to what makes so many of us proud to be Americans. That we choose our own leaders, not that they get to pick themselves.
Well, I mean, again, the voters voting, brother, right? I don't understand. Like, if the voters still want to pick Eric Adams, they can, right? Even if he drops out, they can still vote for him, right? I believe they can still do that, right? They can write his name in, okay, if that's allowed in New York. But yeah, I mean, if they allow write-ins, yeah, they can still vote for him, okay? But again, voters, they have a choice. The candidates have a choice. If the candidates don't want to drop out, if Eric Adams doesn't want to drop out, he doesn't have to drop out, right? But if he drops out, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, that's his right. And voters got a choice in regards to how they respond to that. If your message is so great, then you should be able to persuade those voters to vote for you over Cuomo, right? Even if they initially were supporting Eric Adams. So again, it's just so funny to me how socialists are showing that when you level the playing field, all of a sudden they're not so confident in their message. They're not so confident in people wanting what they're offering. It's funny how that works.
That they get to be picked by the President of the United States. A same president who detained a 6-year-old girl from a New York City public school system and took her hundreds of miles away. The same president that cut SNAP benefits from the hungry across these 5 boroughs. The same president who will throw millions of New Yorkers off their health insurance is now seeking to undermine the very fabric of this city. Bullshit. That is what this news has revealed to us today. And that is what this campaign is fighting. Not simply any other candidate that will be on the ballot, but the notion that New York City is for sale. We know that this city will decide its own future, and we know that it is New Yorkers that we will turn to make that decision in November, not the White House in Washington, D.C. I am angry. I'm angry because so often we think of this solely in terms of the dynamics of politics. But the reason that so many New Yorkers are fed up with politics as they know it is because of news like this. Backroom deals, corrupt agreements, all of which serve to increase the sense of disaffection and despair as it pertains to how people feel about politics across this country. And to know that having defeated Andrew Cuomo by 13 points, having won the votes of close to 600,000 New Yorkers, has only been understood by that former government as an invitation to collaborate with Donald Trump. It showcases why New Yorkers are so eager to turn the page on this kind of politics.
Oh my God, they're working with Trump. Oh, terrible. Right. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. Again, I try to tell you guys, these people hate an even playing field more than anything, right? If they got the juice like that, what are you afraid of? If socialism is so great, it's so wonderful, if everybody wants the free stuff that you're offering them, right? Then go out there and win. Go out there, win over those people, win over Curtis Sliwa voters, win over Eric Adams voters, right? Win over Andrew Cuomo voters, win them over. Again, the fact that this dude is lashing out about this, upset, mad, it tells you he's not confident that he can win over those voters. He's not. There's a lack of confidence here, right? Clearly. So, again, what we have here is full-blown infighting within the Democrat Party because even the Democrat establishment, they're reluctant to back this guy, right? As we talked about before, Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democrat Party, has refused to endorse Zohran Mamdani, right? For various reasons, okay? And now you have some Democrats just coming out openly and saying straight up that, the Democrats should distance themselves from the socialists in their party, and the socialists should leave and go start a new party. That is what Tom Sozzi from New York said about Mamdani and AOC. Take a look.
No, okay, so now you have Hakeem Jeffries. He's the House Minority Leader who'd love to be the head of. And
I think he should be. He's fantastic.
But let's ask this question. What does he do about Zohran Mamdani? Does he endorse him, or does that hurt him in trying to take control in 2026?
Listen, I have not talked to him about it recently. I don't think he should endorse Zohran Mamdani. I think it would be bad for the Democratic Party nationwide.
But President Trump wants him to be the nominee. He wants to run
against him. Of course President Trump
wants
that.
to make him the face of the Democratic Party.
We are democratic capital. Capitalism has raised more people out of poverty than any other system in the history of the world.
But people are buying
It has created more innovation. And socialism has failed everywhere throughout the United States of America. Zohran Mamdani and other democratic socialists should create their own party, because I don't want that in my party. I believe in free enterprise. I believe in democracy. I believe in the democratic ideals. Do I think there's a problem with affordability? Absolutely, there's a problem with affordability. We have to make things more affordable, but we have to also support the police. We have to reduce costs. We have to reduce taxes in New York State to make us more competitive with the rest of the country.
Yeah. So, again, there are certain Democrats who are actually man enough to just flat out say what should be said, what Hakeem Jeffries should be saying, which is that the Democrat Party is not a party for socialists, right? Socialists do not belong in our party. That's what they should be saying. They should be unequivocally saying, we reject this, right? We don't want this, okay? But they're not, okay? You have some, again, like Tom Solsi, who is willing to say that out loud, right? But again, a lot of them are not, okay? But again, Hakeem Jeffries is not flat out endorsing Mamdani either, okay? Which is a question that AOC addressed, okay? Which is about, again, what is it with Hakeem Jeffries not endorsing Mamdani? Take a look.
I am very concerned about the example that is being set by anybody in our party, because in that, I believe that we must set the example of supporting the party's nominee, because it complicates. If an individual doesn't want to support the party's nominee now, it complicates their ability to ask voters to support any nominee later, whether that is mayoral, presidential, what have you. And so I think for the good of the party, we must put our differences aside and support our party's nominee.
And if not. Yeah. So again, we're talking about a full-blown civil war within the Democrat Party happening right now, right? The Democrat Party is imploding before our eyes because you have leftists, okay, and the more center-left Democrats, they're at odds, right, about the future and direction of the party. You're seeing it play out right in front of our faces, okay? And this New York City mayor's race, I think, again, is central to that, because if Zohran wins, again, it's a mask-off moment. I think the Democrat Party, as we know it, will officially be defeated, in the sense that this is not the Clinton, Obama era Democrats anymore, right? Which, again, they're basically already long gone already, right? I mean, we saw how progressive Joe Biden was, even though he was supposed to be a centrist, right? But anyways, again, this will now become the party of Zohran Mamdani, right? It will be the Mamdani party, right? It would essentially be the Democrat Party finally becoming more like their European counterparts. And that's what the socialists want more than anything. So again, this is like the last stand, right? It really is. We're watching the last stand before the midterms, okay, and eventually the primaries. This is going to be fascinating, okay, over the next 2 to 3 years. We're about to live through history, right? History is currently being made within the Democrat Party, and we're going to see how it goes. In my personal opinion, I think the socialists are going to win. It's not about if, it's about when, okay? And if they win, then it will be bad for the country if they actually start to win general elections, okay? But it could possibly, again, be good for Republicans because it makes it easier for Republicans to win general elections. But at the same time, there's a possibility that one of these radical lunatics could actually win a major general election. And again, that would be terrible for this country. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.